Yeah, we had our player and his family member. They tested, as we know, before the game last week. So we were hoping, it happened at sort of 9 o'clock team run day. So we tried to get the test done in the hope we could get it back in time. But because we had to test through the NHS, the protocol won't allow you to do it through the private contractors we use. They give you 48 hours to get it back. Obviously, we needed to get it back in about 36 hours. We chased it, but unfortunately, the email didn't land until after the game had finished. So by the time we had to put a team sheet in, obviously it was too late. So we had to go with the contingencies that we'd made, and the players, obviously, the family subsequently passed the test, so we could have played them in the end anyway. So anyway, look, that's, we all know that the situation, the situation is what it is. We can't take any risks. We're not allowed to take any risks. We've got to be adaptable and ready to move on the run and do what's best for the game and keep us on the field, mate. So we didn't panic or stress too much about it. We just felt it will give some guys an opportunity that they wouldn't have got otherwise. Very frustrating for the guys that had to drop out because they drove to St Helens in the hope that that email arrived before the team sheet. But as I say, we're working just in a different time at the moment, aren't we? So we'll revert back to that. Whatever it takes and what we've got to do, we'll do it and keep the game on the field, mate. Well, we've got a couple suspended, so that's probably certainly alleviated one headache. It's headache of a different kind. We thought Alex Sutcliffe played really, really well for us last week. Obviously, Alex Mellor is fit. Bodene Thompson will be cup tied. We got Connie sort of coming back in, regaining fitness. So we would have actually had a selection around his edges, but Alex getting suspended has probably made that selection a little bit easy on myself this week. And obviously, we've got to have to cover Brad Dwyer. We're not going to appeal. We don't think, it'd be probably a futile mission to go and try and appeal that one. So we'll cop that one on the chin, mate, and we'll just have to come out with how we're gonna cover as bench. But yeah, the guys that were down with COVID, Matty Rees, Alex Mellor, Tommy Allroyd will all come back into contention for this one. We obviously had a good win that night, and there were some things in that game. We scored some tries from kick plays and stuff like that. But I can remember at half time as coming off, I may well have told Tony this at the time, and our boys were goosed at half time. I can't even remember what the scoreboard was, but we felt at the time, and we sort of prepared for this as well, we felt they asked a lot of questions and gave us a real runaround at that time. Were very, very hard to defend again. Even though the game and the scoreboard on the night looked lopsided, I think it's a real, I'll pay tribute to Tony for sticking in there and hanging in there and keep doing what you believe in. And then eventually they've come up with a style that suits the team. I think they probably know that if they want to go grinding down the middle and play like everybody else plays, then but they've come up with a way that really suits the strengths, is different. And I think the fact that, I think this is a good thing as well. The fact that there's no relegation on and takes a little bit of pressure off, being able to stick with trying something different, I think has been really refreshing for the game and making people look at this and go, let's have a look what these guys are doing here, because it's clearly working for them and causing some teams some major problems. However, I'll go back to February and say, despite the scoreline, we felt it caused us some problems on that night, even though we managed it and attacked pretty well on the night ourselves. But again, and before you all start writing, I'm advocating no relegation here. What I am saying is, this is the flip side of it. They've stuck with some players and brought some kids through and been able to try and stick with a different style. And now everybody's going, oh, let's have a look at this. So, just watching the signs have been there, but just watching the last 2 or 3 weeks, it's really clear that they're becoming more comfortable, understanding what works for them in that. And it's a challenging, style of attack to have to defend, particularly given the rule changes too. I just thought we got in too much of a comfort, really, at trying to play one out through the middle. I think, again, the new game, let's just try and blast teams away through the middle with us back five. And one thing that we worked hard on pre-season, probably as you know, and you know, it's going back to it's historical at Leeds, is you know, the Leeds DNA, if you like, of a team that wanted to and were prepared to pass the ball and entertain. And I just felt, you know, and collectively we just didn't want to start losing our identity. I thought before COVID, we were a pretty good team to watch, where we were prepared to pass the ball, and I think we've shown signs of that, and I think, you know, we balance it off with some of the trends and I guess some of the things you have to do with the new rules a little bit, or what suits us. But at the same time, even at half-time last week with the rain coming down, we talked about the need for us to get into shape and be prepared to use the ball, mate, despite the conditions. So I would say that that's something that, you know, finding that balance will be right. I think we've got a team. I think we had 2 tries or 4 tries disallowed last week, but I still think we've got more in terms of how we use the ball and attack, mate, than what we've actually seen, apart from little spurts. So that's something that has been a focus point of us this week. Having said that, after us, I do think our commitment to each other in defence has got a lot better over the last, I would say 2 weeks, but it's 4 weeks, isn't it? The last 2 performances, it's been much better.